find that building a real estate career is a very, very tough career. A lot of ups and downs. I had an encouraging feedback, or rather question. A few people came up to me and said, look, the profession is a very difficult profession, and well, you're one of the bright spots that gives us hope. I was very happy to have heard that. But indeed, real estate is a very, very difficult career. Now, what I'm going to share with you today is on a couple of things. We're going to talk a lot about marketing. We are going to talk a little bit about listing, okay, because some of these things are a little bit technical. Now, first of all, there are no notes in your files. We have some paper right at the back. Do take notes. This is a topic that has taken one whole day. So we are going to cram this into 1 hour. And if you'd like to hear further, you'll have to skip tea and join the session back at 4 o'clock. I don't mind. If we can't finish, we will have an option which I will tell you what the option is. So we'll also cover a little bit about you. Real estate is a lot to do with you. We will talk about expectations. What do consumers expect from you? We will also talk about your friends, what your friends expect of you. And finally, influence. Your influence and people's influence on you. I presented this paper a few years ago. Today's paper has been massaged. It's a blend. It's a blend of what I presented a few years ago. What has happened is, in the course of the last 12 months, I spent a little bit of time in London looking at properties, and I probably met no less than 20 agents, 25 real estate agents in London. And being a real estate, I did not tell them I'm a real estate agent because I'm there as a buyer. And it gives me a very, very good chance to see, of course, I'm sure at the back you can hear my voice now. Okay, very clear. It gave me a very, very good chance to really see how they perform, what they were doing right, what they were doing wrong. It gave me a chance to really see who I wanted to deal with. My wife was with me in all those trips. She had a comment. She had a comment about all of these real estate agents. There were some agents who gave us lousy properties, but we liked them. We liked the person. And we said, how nice, can we try our best to buy from this person? There were those agents who gave us very good properties, but their character was found wanting. And we were hoping we didn't buy the property from them. So you get a mix of all of these characters, and that's why when you look at the earlier slide, I actually put in some faces. You notice all of them are Matsalis. No Matsali here. There's some names here. These are characters. These are all the characters that I came. I'm not able to share with you all, but I'm going to share with you some. And like I said, at the end of the day, it became a real thing. I wanted to buy something. Which was the agent that eventually I bought from, I wanted to buy from. Why did agent lose the deal? And why wasn't I interested in buying from certain people? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about all of this. Now, the first thing, when I hit London, the first thing that happened was, how do I go about finding a property? So now, I need you to relate back to the Malaysian experience. Because as a consumer, I want to buy what you have for sale. Okay, all of you have listings. You have to make sure that you are accessible to me. You have the property. I need to find you. Okay, so now you think backwards. How are you going to make sure that I see your property? Now, before I left for London, I only knew one person. And that was because one of my neighbors had bought a property in London. And she made sure that she gave me the referral. That's the first thing, that referral. So the moment I hit London, I had only one real estate agent to contact. And of course, I contacted the real estate agent. The moment I contacted the real estate agent and I spoke to them, I saw whatever they had to offer me, that's that. I do not know anybody else in London who is selling property. So what does someone like me do? The next thing is, I have to go into the same slide, internet. Go into the internet because, again, think the consumer. The consumer does not know where to find the property that you have for sale. So what does the consumer do? I go into the internet. I go into the internet, and of course I found a lot of things in the internet. And it helped me to go forward. I'll give you one experience that I had. A very successful internet experience that I had. Very many years ago, my son studied in Sydney. And I had to find an apartment accommodation for him, somewhere very near the uni. And I've been in Sydney, in the Australian market since the early 1990s. So I do know a lot of real estate agents in Australia. So I called a few of them. I said, I need this. I need an apartment, I need a 2-bedroom apartment. I need it when and when. But the sad thing, or the surprising thing is, I did not get anything for 1 month. I couldn't find any apartment that was suitable. So by the time I hit Sydney, the first thing I did was go into the internet. And then after talking to the agents prior to that, they were saying the Sydney market is very tight at that moment of time. So they said, I can give you 3 bedrooms and things like that. I can't give you 2-bedroom apartments. The moment I went into the internet, I saw a few things. Immediately I called, immediately I went to see, and the first reasonable apartment, a lot of lighting and things like that, I took it, and after taking it, then only I went for a walk and found there were many other signboards around the area. But I didn't regret it because the unit that I took was good, had a lot of natural lighting and things like that. So what I'm saying is, keep on thinking, how does the consumer find you? So you therefore definitely need to be on the internet. In London, I use the internet very well. The British market is very mature. You'll be surprised to know that you can even click into an address of a house. Let's say an address is #1 Parliament Road. You can go into certain websites. You go into #1 Parliament Road, it can tell you who has owned it before, what is the transacted price before, what year it was transacted. That's how transparent it is. Okay, you can find out the history of that. Okay, so don't forget the internet. I guess that's the reason why when you go upstairs, you notice this here, it's all the internet voice. The first time that you're seeing everybody on the internet exhibiting upstairs. So that is definitely going to be the direction. Yeah, next. What happens next? Now, make sure you get your signboards up. Now, we are talking about marketing at the very moment. Get your signboards up. So the next thing that we do is, let's say I want to find a house in Bayswater in London. So what do? I go and walk around Bayswater. I go there and have a look, because that's the area I'm interested in. So when I go to Bayswater, I will see houses for sale, things like that. One of the places I went was St. John Woods in London. The moment you get out of the tube station, you walk to the town, you are hit with some of these for sale to let signs. And what do? What does the consumer do? Straight away you pick up the phone, you call the agent. I saw your signboard on this particular house. Can I view it? How much is it? Things like that. Okay. The flip side of it is you don't put a signboard. What happens when you don't put a signboard? The consumer just walks by a property that you actually wanted to sell. so glaring and so obvious, right? It's the basic thing. Also remember the psychology that normally if you have a property for sale in any particular area, let's say you have a property in a certain particular street. Let's say it is Jalan 1, okay, Jalan 1. And you will find that always, the moment you put a signboard in Jalan 1, a lot of inquiries will come from Jalan 2 and 3 and 4. Those people who are nearby. And also remember that people who are nearby are always your best, the most obvious buyers. Remember that people like to help people. So if my neighbor is for sale, a few things happen. Number one, I'm thinking, which of my friends would I like to be my neighbor? Number two, if it's not my friend, do I have a relative that will appreciate that property? Why do you do this mentally? Because we are creatures of comfort. We have lived there, we like that place, we have got very good conviction about the place, and we like to share good news. We like to share good things with people. Okay? So the first thing that comes to our mind is, who can I give this property to? So your signboards play a very, very vital role. It's a big mistake not to get a signboard onto the property. Next. What then did we do? Okay. Example, I wanted Notting Hill. All of you saw the show. Notting Hill, something, right? Julia Roberts. So you walk to Notting Hill. So the beautiful thing, and I cannot understand, this doesn't work in Malaysia, but the agents in UK, the people who handle Notting Hill properties, they have all their shops and real estate firms in Notting Hill itself. So when you walk the streets, you find all the estate agents exhibiting everything. And we are then like them. We go through some of these things, we walk in, talk to them. Unfortunately, I don't understand why it doesn't work in Malaysia, but I can tell you that when we were going through the property boom of the 1980s, okay, I've been in real estate for 29 years, and in the early 80s, sorry, the mid 80s, we had the Japanese wave and the Taiwanese wave. A lot of foreign investments came into Malaysia. And sometimes you will find that a lot of all these hotels are lived in by a lot of the Japanese investors and foreign investors. So it did cross the mind, you know, shouldn't I have my real estate office in a shop in KL Hilton, or at that time, Menara Antarabangsa, the complex Antarabangsa, which is connected to the Hilton. What's wrong with me having my real estate company in the Shangri-La Hotel on the first or second floor if they're willing to rent to you? Real estate is a very, very profitable trade if you do it correctly. So you definitely can afford to pay the rents. If a Japanese guy or a Matsade sees you because of your shop front, it has paid more than the rent for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But in our case, we are all hidden in strata offices somewhere. So what I'm saying is, many of you, I presume many of you are negotiators, and one of these days you will get your license to practice, and this is something to think about. You need not necessarily hide yourself in a strata office up in the sky. You may want to bring yourself down. And if you do well, you can pay the rent. What's wrong having a real estate office in Wan Utama? Second floor, third floor. The traffic is still very good. And when you sell a bungalow, what do you get? 5 million bungalow, 2%, 100,000. 100,000 can probably pay the rent for 1 whole year. And what about all the other business that you will get? Do think about it. What next? Newspaper. I know that generation X and Y don't read newspaper. But you have to read the newspaper. I'm trying my best to talk to a lot of generation X and Y that you need to read the newspaper. And sometimes you look at the headlines of the day and you there and I said, do you know this happened? So they said, no, I didn't see it on the computer. So what I'm saying is that there is no way out. But I would presume real estate people read newspaper. Anybody here really doesn't read newspaper? Don't put up your hand. Don't put up your hand. But please read the newspaper. Okay. In social media, you read what you want to read. In the newspaper, you read what you need not necessarily want to read, but you have to read. And sometimes I ask my children, how do you know about this? That's in the front page of the newspaper. I read 5 newspapers every day. Every day. I have the Star, the Sun, Malay Mail, NSC, and Financial Daily. And I read the 8th Financial Daily on the weekend, and every 2 weeks, Malaysian Business. Because they've got very, very good articles. You may think that New Straits Times, I'm not promoting New Straits Times. You may think that New Straits Times does not have good articles, but when you go through, you will find that there are a lot of articles inside there which talks about things that maybe happened before we were even born. It's history, it's history. So once in a while, it's very, very good reading. Next. This is something that also doesn't seem to have happened, or rather has not slowed down a lot in Malaysia. This is actually a, I don't know what you call it. It's not really a property magazine. It's a compilation of brochures. Okay, in your goodie bag, golf we call it goodie bag, there was a property magazine with a lot of property advertisements. Something like, I think you can buy from